Princess of Wales's decision to speak out about her cancer treatment has prompted a surge of visits to the websites of cancer charities and the NHS. Princess Catherine announced last Friday that she was receiving preventative chemotherapy, and Macmillan Cancer Support says online traffic to its information and support pages was the highest weekend figure since the first COVID-19 lockdown. Well, I'm joined now by Professor Gordon Wishart, who's the Chief Medical Officer at Check4Cancer and the Visiting Professor of Cancer Surgery at Anglia Ruskin University. Welcome to the show, Professor Wishart. So, a story that's moved the nation, but this is a positive uptick. People looking at the exemplary outspokenness and forthright nature of the Princess and deciding to do something positive about their own health.
I think it's a great thing, Martin. Education is hugely important because I think we've all been brought up to think of increasing age as, one of the most important risk factors for any cancer. And I think it's come as a shock to many people that it does actually occur in people under 50. The Princess was 42. And this comes at a time where we've got increasing evidence that this is not just happening in the UK, but it's happening globally as well.
And we saw a report out today, indeed, saying there's been a 20% uptick in cancers in the under 50s since 2010, Professor Wishart. So clearly, more people need to get knowledge at their fingertips. So it's an amazing bit of silver lining in this story that people are stepping up and getting involved themselves.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And hopefully they will be reading that many of the risk factors that we have thought traditionally increased the risk of cancer at an older age are now some of the same risk factors driving this in the under 50s, things like smoking, alcohol, obesity, a lack of exercise, and poor diets that are high in fats or high in red meat, high in salt, and diets low in fruit. So I think there's a huge kind of public health message that we need to get out there. And I'm glad that people are taking the initiative themselves and looking for this information online.
And it's also incredibly positive that the royal family are being so open about their health because, of course, that gives permission for the rest of us to follow suit.
I think that's true. I think it's a very brave thing to do. I think having a cancer diagnosis and chemotherapy under the age of 50 is a challenge for any family, but of course they are doing this, in the full scrutiny worldwide. But it is very brave, and I think, hopefully this will stop a lot of the speculation about, her being unwell and what was causing that. And if we can turn this round into increased education about how to recognise the signs and symptoms of cancer so that we can try and diagnose cancer at an early stage, that would be a very positive outcome from what has been a very difficult time for them as a family.
Yeah, I think a lot of people at 6 o'clock on Friday evening were thrown into quite a dark place, particularly if their lives have been touched by cancer in any way. And so to have such a quick turnaround and to make this something so positive where numbers have been surging upwards, I think is a tremendous thing. So thank you very much for joining us on the show this afternoon. That's Professor Gordon Wishart, who's the Chief Medical Officer at Check4Cancer and, of course, the Visiting Professor of Cancer Surgery at Anglia Ruskin University.